Hi, I thought I'd make a quick video on how to use EdPuzzle. Once you're signed up initially with your Google account, your Jeffco Google, you'll click on Login. And here it says if you don't have an account, you'll sign up again. So I just click on Google every time that I log in, and then I click on my correct Jeffco credentials, and then here I am in EdPuzzle. And so far in EdPuzzle, I've made a few different videos. Not all of these are ready to go just yet, but I've been kind of working on them. My latest one is on the Korean War, and I'm going to show you guys just a very short tutorial of how to create a video like this. You can also see that I've imported my classes from Google Classroom, which makes it super easy to keep track of students. Like, I have not assigned one yet to Modern US, but in World History last semester we did do one on the Middle Ages, and students were able to watch this and answer some questions and that kind of stuff, which was pretty cool. And you can see that in this class 85% of students who were signed up completed it. In this class it was 84. You can also take a look. What's kind of cool is that you're able to see which students watched it and finished it. Okay, so the X's mean, oops, didn't finish it. But you can also see how they did overall on the video and on the questions. The questions that I wrote on this one were a little too tough. I made it where there were multiple correct answers to some multiple choice questions, which it wasn't the best when I was first introducing a topic to students and using a video. So, lesson learned. Anyway, going back here, if I'm going to create a new EdPuzzle, what I want to do is I can either search for different content and I can go to EdPuzzle and look for ones that are already made, or I can create a brand new one of my own if I want to. So what I did is I went to YouTube, and in YouTube I was searching for the Korean War. And so when I searched for the Korean War, it came up with a bunch of different options. I wanted a really short video that just gave kids kind of a basic idea of what the Korean War was all about. And so I wound up going with this one. And I did preview it first. And as I was watching it, I noticed that it was definitely presenting a very strong point of view in favor of U.S. involvement in the Korean War. And I thought that was interesting. And I thought that students should also consider the fact that maybe not everybody was totally in support, or what might the alternate point of view have been. And so that's what I chose to focus on for this video, was giving them some basic facts about the war, but then also thinking about, hey, this is one guy's point of view, so just kind of keep that in mind. So what I would do is I would go and copy this address and then go back into EdPuzzle, and if I've selected YouTube, I can go ahead and just put the URL in there, and here is that video. Now, when I was previewing it, I did think about a few questions that I might like to have students answer for me, and because this is going to be used as kind of like a front-loading tool, I'm thinking that the questions that I ask are going to be rather open-ended in nature, so they can use any of the details that they hear in the video to answer these questions, and plus do some thinking on their own as well to connect to it. Now, this first tool is the crop tool. So if your video is longer than what you want it to be, and you want to cut out a portion of it, either the beginning part or the end part, you can use this tool to move it along the line and make it shorter if you wish, which is kind of a nice thing. You can also do an audio track over the entire thing if you wish. I haven't used this feature because I just haven't found the need just yet. But if you decide to use it, you can watch this little video on Show Me How, all that kind of stuff.
Mention the Korean War today.
Yeah, we're not doing that though. And then quizzes is typically where you're going to wind up going, which is where you can create your own questions for students. And so since I've previewed this video already, I know that my first question I'm going to have right around 29 seconds.
A South Korean neighbor. Within
So at 29 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and I've got options for what type of question I want. This is just if I want to leave a comment for students like, hey, you want to make sure that you're thinking about blah, 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 whatever. Or did you notice blah, blah, blah? Kind of a rhetorical question. And then over here, I've got an option for multiple choice. And then you select which one is wrong, so EdPuzzle can score it for you, which is pretty awesome. But again, I would not do multiple correct answers on this because that turned out to be kind of mean. I felt bad. And then here is just for more of an open-ended type question. So my first question is, what were the two opposing ideological, oops, oh no, that's right, ideological, ideologies, forces in the Korean War? And where and when did this come from? So we've studied a little bit about post-World War II and that kind of stuff, so students know about the heightening or escalating tensions between the Soviet Union and the United States, so they can kind of talk about that a little bit in this answer. And then once I'm done with this, I can go ahead and save it. And now I'll continue on with making my EdPuzzle, where I can add in other types of questions.
Weeks the communists had nearly absorbed the entire country.
And so a second question that I'm going to ask here is going to be at 156. So I'll scrub along to 156. Now here's the cool thing. You can force students to watch the entire video. They don't necessarily get to do this moving back and forth kind of deal. Like, they can't just go straight to the questions and take a wild guess. You can make it to where they're not allowed to skip through.
Finally secured. You're the
Okay, so I said a 156. Oopsie. Ha. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write my question here. What did American and UN forces do in response to the initial invasion of the communists across the 38th parallel? Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and save that question. So there's a couple of major ideas that I want them to definitely be aware of in this video, and so that's why I've asked these two questions so far. And then later on in the video, at 3:50, our speaker has gone ahead and supplied a bunch of different ideas on why the Korean War was necessary in his viewpoint. And so I want to ask, what are two reasons, there were several, why this speaker thinks the Korean War was worth the effort? Okay, so students would have to answer that for me as well. And now let's say if I'm all done with my video, and I'm not, there's another couple of things I would add, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then I'm going to go ahead and press finish. And then if I have already uploaded my Google Classroom into EdPuzzle, which is a really simple process, I can go ahead and click on which classroom do I want to go ahead and share this with. I can prevent skipping or not, which is what I was talking about before. And I can also assign a due date if I want to, which I'm not going to right now. Okay, so here it is. Here's the video that I just made. And you can see that some questions have been added to it. So now I can choose to go back in and edit it, or I can assign and share it. I can remove it, whatever I want to do. Now something that's kind of cool too is that you can also share these videos with anyone. If you want to share it with a colleague and say, hey, here's a video that I made, what do you think about this, whatever, and get some feedback on it, whatever, you can do that. Or you can also borrow and share things together. But that is basically it with EdPuzzle and creating one. There's a lot of great things that you can do with this tool, and I hope that you guys use it and enjoy it. I definitely am.